Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a historical movie review and I'll be having a look at Spartacus. Now this is the 2004 TV miniseries that has kind of been sort of re-edited and basically put out on DVD as a kind of a movie. So obviously I just watched it in the long, not two-parter, which it would have been shown on TV, and it probably was better for it, to be fair. This came out in 2004, as I say, and if you're kind of talking about Spartacus now, you'd probably be thinking of the kind of the more recent sort of TV series that sort of came out that starred Andy Whitfield and Liam McIntyre as Spartacus. So obviously this kind of probably is forgotten about to a certain degree. And if you do think of any other movies about Spartacus, it's going to be the sort of Kirk Douglas one. Now this one is actually based off a novel, the same novel that the Kirk Douglas movie was based off. And essentially kind of retells a sort of story of Spartacus, who was basically a slave who basically led a kind of uprising against his sort of Roman captors and to kind of form a slave army and ultimately give Rome a real genuine threat, you know, in the very kind of in their sort of the heart of their homeland ultimately, and almost sort of came fairly close to sort of defeating the Roman army. Now, if you're unaware of the story of Spartacus, there may be some spoilers in here. So this film basically plays out probably a little bit differently from like the Kirk Douglas movie. You haven't got the kind of the I am Spartacus scene that it's kind of that's probably most famous for, and it plays probably a little bit differently from the kind of the more recent TV series, because obviously that was kind of based on I think three or four seasons at least. So you know, that obviously have a lot sort of longer to kind of really sort of draw out the characters. Nonetheless, it is a pretty decent mini-series. And the main criticism you'll have of this one is because it was kind of, I'm guessing in America, like some kind of prime network TV, there's very, very little gore in this movie. And it's a fairly bloodless affair. And especially when you kind of see some of the sort of the swords getting sort of plunged in, there's virtually not any blood in this one whatsoever. I guess the other main criticism I have, now I'm going to absolutely slaughter this guy's name, Goran Visnjic. I have no idea. The main guy who plays Spartacus, basically. Now, if you're watching this as a kind of mini-series in two parts, the first part, he had virtually hardly any dialogue, which was kind of strange. The second half, he does kind of have a lot more to do, I guess. But the first half of this movie, or the first episode of this two-part series, if you're watching it like that, he doesn't really have much to do in regards to dialogue, which I found kind of strange. You know, it's actually quite a well-produced and fairly authentic TV movie, I have to say. And they actually use quite a lot of extras. There's some reasonable battle scenes as well. So I was quite surprised there, because I've seen quite a few of these sort of TV miniseries and movies, and they tend to sort of be on the kind of the smaller scale and don't tend to have a lot of extras in regards to some of the sort of battles. But this one did, so I was quite impressed with it. And so it was pretty decent, and there were some nice little touches. That kind of made it fairly authentic. They made a few sort of gaffes here and there, but nevertheless, I thought it was fairly authentic in regards to sort of the Roman, what actually happened back then and stuff like that. So I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with this as a kind of TV movie / mini series. A couple of mild issues of it. I mean, I think maybe the love story was a little bit shoehorned in there as well. The female lead played by Ronan Mitra, who is probably most well known as a one-time Lara Croft for Eidos. But it was, there's a few minor faults in it, but overall, for a TV movie, I actually thought it's really pretty decent. Actually, once Spartacus dies, tried to be a spoiler, it actually kind of carries on a little bit later on, a little bit further as well, to kind of really sort of tell you the sort of what happens after, or in this particular version at least, the aftermath and how the assaulted Romans, like sort of Agrippa and Crassus, basically sort of dealing with it and stuff like that. So it's that's all pretty interesting, and the Romans do get a fair amount of screen time as well. So I'm going to give this TV movie a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty decent. So if you're a Spartacus fan, if you like the more recent TV show, it may well be worth hunting this one down, provided you can kind of deal with the lack of gore. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.